Okay, given the graph, sketch this graph. So I don't really like this right now. I don't like the way that this is written. Does anybody know why I don't like it? It's not a y equals. So can we move this? Now I kind of have all that lined up with the A, B, C, D positioning. Okay, can you make a math coordinate for me? You need to think about a new math coordinate. So did you go x minus 3? Does that make sense? And then a y plus 2. That's how your transformations are affecting things. Okay, let's take a couple coordinates here. How about 1, negative 1? How about negative 2, negative 5? Okay, can you tell me the new coordinates for those 2 points? Okay, so I'm going to go 1 subtract 3, so that's going to go to negative 2, comma, positive 1. Is that good? And then this, so subtract 3 and add 2. Okay, so those are the 2 new coordinates. Can you fill in the shape? We didn't reflect or stretch anything, so it's just that shape visualized in the same way. And if you ever see an arrow, you also got to write an arrow. And think about your visuals. Does it move left and up? Okay. Describe the transformations that would have happened. So I had an equation, and now the coordinates did this. So what has happened in words? When you hear describe, it's like a word answer. So it is moving right and down, because that's the math that's happening. Your x is, there's an add 2, so that's going to make it move right and down. Okay, write an equation in 2 different ways. So the first way I'm going to write it is I'm going to write it just in terms of f of x. So I'm going to go f of, how do I make it move right? Does that make sense? Because it's opposite of the math. And down. So that's one way you can write it. Because this was called the f of x function, I can just keep it like that. Or I could have wrote it using the x cubed and keeping the original function. So instead of x cubed, I'm going to write x minus 2 cubed minus 5. So I'm replacing the x with x minus 2. Okay, so that's 2 different ways to write it. Okay, number 3. We had the function f, And then here's the domain and range. There's a transformation, so what's the new range and domain? Okay, why don't we talk about what's happening to our coordinate? Can you write a new coordinate using those? Okay, how did that go? X plus 3, 2y minus 4. Okay, so the domain. If before the farthest right was 3, now the farthest right is going to be 6. Before the farthest left was -1. Can you move that right 3? Okay, the range. So you need to double it. So times by 2 and then subtract 4. That's what you're doing to those numbers, both of those numbers. Times by 2, subtract 4. Tell me if we're not matching. Those were good? 0 and 8? Okay. Okay, so our original function had x, y. If this happened, what would your point look like? This is in the what letter? The A letter? So that goes on the X or the Y? The Y. So that should be point number 3. Okay. Next one. This is a B. So that's on an X. So what happens to your X number? It gets divided by a quarter. B is a divider. So what's another way that this is end up looking like? 4x is the same. So that should be point number 1. Okay, this a quarter is in the A. So what happens to your coordinate? It's a multiplier for your y. So now, does that match one of them? Did you pick 4? And then this one is a B. So that's going to change your X. So that's going to be point 2. Okay, the graph is reflected in the x-axis. What do you know? Reflecting in the x-axis. Something's negative. Which one, the A or the B? If you reflect over the x-axis. Did you pick A? Vertically stretching by 1/3. What do we want there? Vertically stretching by 1/3. So that's an A. Okay, this one's tricky. Horizontally compress or horizontally stretching. Okay, be careful there. What are you going to want your B number? So your options are 4 or 1/4. Which one will physically make it horizontally stretch? Did you pick 1/4? Because X stuff is opposite of your brain. So if it's stretching, you actually have a fraction number. Okay, so what's your equation here? Y equals f of x with all of those things in there. Okay, we need this point to go where? So let's figure out how to write a math equation with just those numbers there. So your math equation should be 4x, right? Okay, so this is going to become -12. And then that is a -2. Okay, number 6 is also a point. A point is getting changed. Okay, can you write me the math coordinate on all the A, B, C, D stuff there? Everyone's got that memorized with their original statement, like that? Okay, so can you get me a new coordinate? Are we okay with that? Did we match those numbers? Okay, so 4 times -4, -16 plus 2. -3 times 7, -21 minus 7 more.